Hello everybody, this is my Lobo Blanco character creation video. I hope you can understand my English uh, well. I'll start by going through the book. Character creation starts at page 11. The first thing suggested by the rules is to create a character concept. A character concept is the global idea or general idea of the character you want to create. Maybe the character will be a sailor, a warrior, a noble. Maybe he will be human, Melnivonian, or Mirren. All these ideas are included in the character's concept, but it is not an obligation to have all the character created at this step. You can create the character step by step as we go through the character creation. The next step in the character creation is entitled characteristic. In Lobo Blanco, there is only one characteristic. A characteristic is the most striking stat or aspect of the character. It is something that you can guess whenever you look at a character for the first time, at a person. For example, you can be someone really strong, and the first thing you think when seeing that character is, well, he's strong, or maybe he's resistant, or handsome, or smart, or any of the characteristics that are available. In Lobo Blanco, there are 4 physical characteristics. You have strong, which affects actions of strength, nimble, which affects actions of precision and speed, resilient, which affects actions of physical resistance and health, and handsome, which affects the social actions of presence. Then you have 4 mental characteristics, which are smart, which affects actions of reasoning, alert, which affects actions of perception, determined, which affects actions of will and mental resistance, and charismatic, which affects actions of social interaction. Then we have 2 racial characteristics that are Melnivonian and Mirren. If you want to have a character of one of these races, you have to choose these characteristics. The Melnivonian characteristic allows the character to have a higher magical sensitivity and perception, as well to increase his ability with magic. And mirroring characters that have this characteristic allows them to have wings and fly. We can make, I don't know, maybe a character who's nimble. So I'm going to write here in the character sheet, I will write nimble. It's a bit large, the font, but well, that's it. We write nimble and we fill the dot that is at the right. Okay, well, we have now our character that is human, and the characteristic we chose is nimble. We then continue with the character creation. The next step in character creation is to choose a culture. A culture is the cultural background from the character. The cultural background can be of any of the usual Young Kingdoms countries, including Melibone and Mirren. Culture is important because it adds one die for 3 skills that are included inside a culture that define that particular culture. So we have a random culture chart to help players who are new to the Young Kingdoms and don't know maybe every country and its characteristics. So I'm going to roll with D8. D8 is the standard die for this game. Okay, I rolled a 3. So if I refer to the culture chart, I get the character will be from the north or northern continent. Now I roll an additional D8 and I have a 7. So my character will be from Bilmir. And the rules say that I must roll an additional D8. And if I get an 8, he will be from Natsugor, which I think will be pretty sad for example character, but we'll try. Well, thankfully I got a 7, so our character will be from Bilmir. Well, then I'm going to write here in the character sheet under the culture title. I will write Bilmir. There's no dot along the culture space because we are directly going to fill the dots that are in the skills section. As I told you before, each culture influences 3 skills. So I'm going to search for this. In the rules, I have Vilmir. Okay, Vilmirian characters have 1 free skill, which is common language at 3 points, and influences 3 cultural skills, which are athletics, crafts, and mechanisms. So I'm going to write under the skills title, I will write common for the free language. Then I will write athletics for one of the 3 free skills that are influenced by the culture. Then crafts. This skill englobes all crafts. You don't have to choose a specific craft in Lobo Blanco. Here skills are a little bit broader than the usual BRP games. And the last one is mechanisms. Okay, so here we are. We have the 3rd skill, which is mechanism. Then I'm going to fill the dots of the culture column, okay? Also, I fill 3 dots for the free common skill. The common skill is not influenced by the cultural background, so I will only have 3 dots, which is pretty high, really. Okay, Well, you have some additional description in the rules. For example, you have a general knowledge of Bilmir, which is history and general facts about the country, myths and legends of the Lords of Law. So every time your character needs to know something about the history or something about Bilmir, you can add an additional die uh, coming from the cultural background. Then you have major religions, which in case of Bilmir is law, and all other cults are forbidden and chaste. And the typical occupations, which are artisan, engineer, farmer, noble, and priest. Maybe we can choose one of those for this example. I think I'd like to make an engineer, sorry. And we get to the occupations. Okay, in this section we can choose the main activities of our character, the occupation he had before becoming an adventurer. This is important because Lobo Blanco characters are the stars of the game, and they are assumed to be all adventurers that left their previous lifestyle to seek their own destinies. And so occupations is the knowledge the character has before going out adventuring. In Lobo Blanco you can choose one occupation with a 3-point level, or you can choose two occupations with one occupation at level 2 and the other at level 1. However, having two occupations allows you to have a broader knowledge than having a single occupation, but you start with a lower level. So it's up to every player if he feels better with one or the other option. Of course, this is designed to represent some of the characters that appear in the novels. For example, Rakir, which is a sorcerer priest, or warrior priest, sorry. And other characters I can't remember right now, but have two occupations. We'll stick with one occupation for this example, so I will choose, as I said, an engineer. I'm going to write here in the sheet under occupation. I will write engineer. Here I have under the occupations and skill table, I have which skills are included in the occupations. So I'm going to search for engineer. Well, engineer has two skills, engineering and mechanisms. So mechanisms, we already have it written, so I'm going to add engineering mechanism occupation die, and one die for the engineering occupation column. If we have a single occupation, we need to fill the slot from the occupation column, and then we have to fill two more slots each. So we are going to have right now 3 dice for an engineering roll and 4 dice for a mechanisms roll, which is pretty high considering the normal difficulty requires a single success. So other skills. As a player, you have 4 additional dots to distribute between additional skills of your choosing, with up to 3 points in a given skill at the time of character creation. You can use up to 2 of these points to raise the amount of resources which your character starts, as shown later. Okay, I won't raise the resource stat in this example, so I'm going with 4 dots to fill skills. So we have combat skills, physical skills, knowledge skills, social skills, and magical skills. We are going to choose first a combat skill because we are in a brutal world, so almost any adventurer should have a combat skill to be able to defend himself or herself. So we're going to give him ranged combat. We're going to give him 2 dice. So now in the skills column, I'm going to add ranged combat, and I'm going to fill 2 points. And then what should we give this character? I think he's pretty good with his occupational skills, so I'm going to add something to broaden his abilities. So maybe I can add 1 die of perception and a social skill would be right, I think. So maybe persuade. I think I will give him a single die in persuade and another die in perception. I think that is pretty nice. So we are getting near the end of the die distribution. We continue with character creation. We get 2 resources. Okay, all characters normally start with 1 point of resources. This means that the player character has very little money and needs to manage to survive each day. He can get money by completing small jobs or returning some favors. So that is the sad life of our engineering character. I'm going to search for resources. Oh, it's a little bit to the right here. So we fill a single die. Next step is one of the most important for this game. The next step, we define destiny. I will read the description of destiny as it appears in the book. Destiny is the desire, cause, aspiration, or urge the character has that makes them come out of their daily life and find a way in a world of adventures. Destiny, at the same time, is the cause and the ultimate goal of the character, which is generally impossible or very difficult to achieve. Destiny, in short, is the engine that drives the character to act. Okay? And maybe this is the step where one have to think a little bit more about the nature of the character, because destiny is going to impact the character in every single session and adventure. So there are a number of example destinies based on occupations, just to get a quick start. So maybe I will choose one of these. We have, for example, to two destinies. One is to revolutionize the world with my inventions, and the other one is to achieve star travel, which is pretty exotic. Maybe we can go with the second one just for the fun of it. So our character's destiny will be to achieve star travel, which is pretty awesome for a Young Kingdoms character. We didn't give a name to our character, so maybe I don't know, I can name him Yord. Okay. Well, now we have our destiny. The next thing we have in the character creation is the forces step. Only Melnivanean characters start with a point in one of the forces, in chaos obviously. So we have a human character and we will ignore this step. Next step is the description of the character. We can give the usual physical, mental and psychological description we can do in any other role-playing game. It will have no impact mechanically, but it's nice always to have a description. I will get to the next point just to not to make this too long. So we have the next step, which is previous connections. The idea behind previous connections is that all player characters have start the game with already know each other and with previous connections, so that one can start the game immediately and you don't have to roleplay a meeting session or force some situation. So this step usually is made with all of the players in the table. The only thing needed is that each character has at least one connection with another character. Well, we continue with the character creation and we get to the allies step. An ally is a character having a good relation with the player character. That could be a friend, a former comrade in arms, a former boss, a lover, or anything you can think of. When coming up with an ally, think about the thing that connects him or her with the player character. An ally is going to function as a main non-player character and will be described with a sentence that includes all necessary facts. This is a common thing in Lobo Blanco. You can describe NPCs or secondary allies or enemies with a single phrase. So the composition of this phrase is first the name of the character, then the characteristic, then the country of origin or culture, and last the occupation and the level in the occupation. So we're going to choose an ally that has another set of skills different from the ones of our player, because an ally can support our character by acting, but also if the character is present, he can give an additional die if he shares the same occupation or the same skills inside that occupation. So maybe some players want allies that can give additional dice to their characters, and maybe other players want allies that can complete or extend the player's abilities or skills. So I'm going with this second option. I think I will make a character called Carissa. Ilmuran warrior. Sorry, I'm gonna put strong Ilmuran warrior, and the 3 starting dots. Okay, we have Carissa, strong Ilmuran warrior. She will be a friend of her character. Maybe they met in a journey. I don't know. You can create your connection with an ally, with the ally. Maybe she was a previous personal love. I think that would be nice for this character. Okay, so now we continue with the next step, which is similar to the ally step, but we are creating an enemy. Okay, this is a personal enemy of the character. So he's normally a character that appears, or maybe will appear many times during the campaign. The idea is to create recurring enemies and create an interesting relationship that can grow between sessions and create some interesting role-playing possibilities. So we are going to describe our enemy the same way we described the ally. The enemy will start with the same number of points and will act the same way as an ally does. So maybe we can create our enemy. I think will be Natsokorit assassin and the 3 dots. Okay. We're going to put our enemy. Great. Well, I think we are getting near the end of the character creation. We have equipment and wealth. Here we can choose the starting equipment and additional equipment our character has. Normally our character can start with anything that is current to his occupation, and so maybe our character can start with tools, parchments, ink, maybe a ruler, and other appropriate objects. So I'm not going to write that down just to speed up this process. Okay, so you can start, as I said, with anything that is logical for our character to have, and then you can buy anything you want that you can with the current resources level. Let me check the character sheet. I think it's complete. Oh, okay, we can fill the combat area with a weapon and an armor. I think maybe a thrown dagger. I think it will be appropriate for the character, so we're going to write weapon thrown dagger and going to write sho, which is the short for short. This determines the type of weapon and a special effect that you can, or special maneuver you can make while playing. And under the CV is combat value. Every normal weapon has one. I think our character doesn't need an armor right now to start adventuring, so I think we have finished our character creation. It is a fast character creation. Of course, I think there are some steps that require some thinking time. For example, the destiny and the allies are some steps that require deep thinking about the character and what we want to play. But everything else is pretty fast and straightforward. So, well, I hope you like the video. I'm sorry for my language, my English, but I'm not used to speak so fluently in English. But well, I think it is a good start. Well, thanks for watching till the end, and see you